All right. Jaden, your mask. Yeah. There you go. Okay. All praises, all praises. Shabbat shalom, everybody. Captain Shazael Lara here with Kingdom in Israel, United Worldwide for our Sabbath service today. And it will be today our Sabbath service. We're going to go over, last night we went over the brotherhood. Tonight we're going to talk about some history, and we're going to go over how our sisterhood was destroyed. Okay. Please thumbs up the video. If you guys can hear me, if we are clear, please put a 1 in the chat. All right. We want to make sure everybody can hear us first. All right. Everybody, if you can hear us, please put a 1 in the chat. And we'll kind of get started in a second. Okay. Shabbat shalom, Second Officer Abraham Yasharala. I'm sure Second Officer William Rice up in here. Sis Donzella Brown. Shabbat shalom. I appreciate everybody joining us today. I'm gonna go into the feed on Facebook. Please put a 1 in the chat if we are clear. If you guys can hear us and we're clear. I highly appreciate that. Please thumbs up the video. Please like the video and share it. We shall appreciate it. Trying to make sure that we get this word out to all of our brothers and sisters throughout the nation. Okay. Sister Brown, I shall appreciate it. She can hear us good. Want to make sure that we're coming across clear. That's all. Make sure we don't have no delays or no lags before we go into the lesson. Okay. Okay. All right. Hopefully everybody got the notifications. I know Facebook's been acting real funny about our lessons, and particularly mine. My lessons, they've been acting real funny. But we know Satan's always busy. You know, there's never a day off that he takes. But we're still gonna do the work of the Most High in sincerity and truth, and still continue to bring this truth and this gospel to our people. So just let us know if y'all have any delays or any lags. We appreciate it. Yeah, that's what we look at. If we sound good, everybody just let us know. Make sure that we're not lagging. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay. And if any of you brothers and sisters that are out there that continually follow us, I appreciate it. The water on that. Please continue to share our videos and make sure that our people continue to get the word out. Okay, make sure our people continue to get the word out. And we're gonna kind of get started. Seems like we're not lagging. Seems like the stream's working. We are good. Okay. All right. So today we're gonna kind of go into a little history and go into some things that are really deep rooted. We're actually going to place blame where blame is due. That's what we're going to do. You know, you got this whole gender war among our people to where, you know, the guys are being real hateful towards the women are being hateful towards the men. There's a lot of that among our nation. And You guys got to, we all got to remember, did we go into slavery as a people for living in the spirit of transgression or by breaking the Most High's laws? That's the reason why we went into slavery, was by living in the spirit of transgression and breaking the Most High's laws. Absolutely, we did as a nation of people. However, not only historically speaking, but what is continually done and propagated to our women has everything to do with our oppressors. Okay? Our oppressors continue to propagate and to give our people the tools to continually hate each other and for our women to hate us. Okay? Because I'm going to tell y'all something right now. The so-called white man is the border of wickedness, the great red dragon in the book of Revelations, and the damn devil the Bible speaks of. And we're going to prove it. We're not saying that because of our feelings. We're saying that because of what's written in the scriptures and throughout history. Now, one of the things that we're going to go into today, which my family is familiar with, and all of you who are part of this nation and knowledge and truth, you should be aware of this as well. It's something called the Willie Lynch letters. Okay, I'm not going to read the entire thing because it's a bit much. However, the part that is very particular to our women, I am going to read. And you guys are going to see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. Let me go ahead and pull this up real quick. Okay. And if some of you don't know who Willie Lynch is, he was a slaver. Okay. He was a slaver, and he was very instrumental in slavery. I kind of want you to share your screen. Let me see. Let me see if I can share your screen real quick. Because I do want to pull it up. That way, some of you can really get an understanding of this if this is something that you guys have never seen or heard of before. Okay. And Jalil, I just want you to kind of follow with me while I read. Okay. Okay. And we're going to make this happen. We're going to get some edification today. All right. All right. Now, let me turn. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and somebody's who's mic is that?
Not really.
Okay. Not sure, but I think everybody can kind of see it. But if it's not clear, can't see anything. Okay. Okay, the screen share is blurry. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and pull it up, and then we're gonna turn it around. You know, I kind of figured that's kind of what was going on. Not sure, but I think everybody can kind of. Okay, let's do this. We're gonna go ahead and turn around. That's okay. So let's go ahead and got that. Jaden, if you can go ahead and turn it around, turn the camera around. Yeah. Turn the camera around. Yeah, and face that way. We wanna see that. Okay. Now go ahead and scoot it down.
It's so dark.
Okay. Go ahead and
I can see.
there you go. Now go ahead and go back to the letter.
It's really dark.
Okay. So let's see. Okay, we're gonna have to make this work. All right. So we know we got that. Okay. So I'm gonna start from the top. Start from the top. The breaking process of the African woman. Take the female, run a series of tests on her to see if she will submit to your desires willingly. Test her in every way because she is the most important factor for good economics. If she shows any sign of resistance in submitting completely to your will, do not hesitate to use the bullwhip on her to extract that last bit of B out of her. Take care not to kill her, for in doing so, you spoil good economics. When in complete submission, she will train her offspring in the early years to submit to labor when they become of age. Understanding is the best thing. Therefore, we shall go deeper into this area subject matter concerning what we have produced here in this breaking process of the female nigger. We have reversed the relationship in her natural uncivilized state. So according to the so-called white man, she's uncivilized because she didn't naturally submit to him. So that's uncivilized to them. She would have a strong dependency on the uncivilized nigger male. Y'all see that? So because she wasn't submitting to the so-called white man, she was submitting to her man. They're both uncivilized, okay? You're only civilized when you're submitting to them. And she would have a limited protective tendency toward her independent male offspring and would raise male offsprings to be dependent like her. Nature had provided for this type of balance. So she's going to naturally make her sons be dependent like her. So effeminizing them, basically, in a sense, okay? Let me go up some. Give me a second. We reverse nature by burning and pulling a civilized nigger apart and bullwhipping the other to the point of death, all in her presence. By her being left alone, unprotected, with the male image destroyed. You see how that's in all caps? With the male image destroyed, the ordeal caused her to move from her psychologically dependent state to a frozen, independent state. I'm gonna read that again. The ordeal caused her to move from her psychologically dependent state. So her natural state was being dependent upon the man. Her unnatural state was to be psychologically in a frozen, independent state, okay? In this frozen psychological state of independence, she will raise her male and female offspring in reverse roles. For fear of the young male's life, she will psychologically train him to be mentally weak and dependent, but physically strong. Because she has become psychologically independent, she will train her female offspring to be psychologically independent. What have you got? You got the nigger woman out front and the nigger man behind and scared. This is a perfect situation of sound sleep and economics. Y'all see this, right? Okay, we're not making this up. Before the breaking process, we had to be alertly on guard at all times. Why? Because you were being attacked by the men. There was an overthrow coming. We were coming to attack. It was revolts, right? We had to be alertly on guard all times. Now we can sleep soundly. For out of frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. Ooh-wee. Y'all see that? He cannot get past her early slave molding process. He is a good tool. All right, let me go to the second page. How many of y'all watching knew about the Willie Lynch letters?
I didn't.
You knew about them? You knew about them, Sid? Yeah. Okay. Let's get to page 2. So you got to understand, they put the woman on guard. Put the woman on guard for the man. So she would tell. Oh, that's good. You got page 2? That's page 2? Oh, wow. You're moving faster than mine. Oh, that's that Keynote internet, ain't it? Man, I don't know what I got going. I got that Hilton internet right here. It's working out. Okay. Scroll up to the top. Here, the top.
It is.
Oh, that's the top. Oh, yeah. Okay. So what have you got? What have you got? You got the nigger woman out front and the nigger man behind and scared. This is the perfect situation of sound sleep and economics. That's what's wrong with our people. Sound asleep. Before the breaking process, we had to be alertly on guard at all times. Now we can sleep soundly, for out of frozen fear, his woman stands guard for us. He cannot get past her early slave molding process. Why? Because she is completely submission to the slave master. She does what he says, not what her man says. He is a good tool. Now ready to be tied to the horse at a tender age. By the time a nigger boy reaches the age of 16, he is soundly broken in and ready for long life of sound and efficient work and reproduction of a unit of good labor force. Continually through the breaking of the uncivilized savage niggers, by throwing the nigger female savage into a frozen psychological state of independence, by killing the protective male image, and by creating a submissive dependent mind of the nigger male slave, we have created a orbiting cycle that turns on its own axis forever. Unless a phenomenon occurs and reshifts the position of the male and female slaves. Guess what? That phenomenon is happening. It's the Most High putting things back in order. Amen. You understand? See, that's the only way that this Willie Lynch syndrome is going to be broken. Okay? And they knew that. Frozen with independence, raise their offer. Okay. Where we at? Okay. In reverse road. Wait a minute. What did I mean?
Forever unless the phenomenon occurs.
Oh, okay. I missed it because he scrolled up. Okay. Unless the phenomenon occurs that reshifts the position of the male and female slaves. Like I said, which is happening right now, because according to the order of the Most High, the men are supposed to lead and the women are to be in submission to the men. That was exactly what the so-called white man changed during slavery. And as we're going to find out, it's been systematic ever since. Okay. We show what we mean by example. Take the case of 2 economic slave units and examine them closely. The Negro marriage. We'll start right here. We breed 2 nigger males and 2 nigger females. Then we take the nigger male away from them and keep them moving and working. Say one nigger female bears a nigger female and the other bears a nigger male. Both nigger females, being without influence of the nigger male image, frozen with an independent psychology, will raise their offspring in reverse position. The one with the female offspring will teach her to be like herself, independent and negotiable. We negotiate with her, through her, by her, negotiates her at will. The one with the nigger male offspring, she being frozen subconscious, fear for his life, will raise him to be mentally dependent and weak, but physically strong. In other words, body over mind. Now, in a few years, when these 2 offsprings become fertile for early reproduction, we will mate and breed them and continue the cycle. This is good, sound, and long-range comprehensive planning.
They did that. They did that.
I just want that to soak in for a minute. I just want that to soak in for a minute, because what we haven't done, Jake, you can turn it back around. What we haven't done is give credit where credit's due. That's what we haven't done. Is we haven't hit that light from. What we haven't done is give credit where credit's due, and we're giving credit where credit's due and showing where the sisterhood was destroyed. Okay, because contrary to popular belief, the so-called black man did not destroy our women's sisterhood. Okay, I know that's what's going around on the internet. I know that's what's going around. What some of these sisters will have you know is that it's all the men's fault. But without understanding history and how it was designed and how our nation was destroyed from the inside out, you're not going to have a full understanding of how our sisterhood was destroyed until we bring this stuff up. This is why we bring this stuff up. Okay. One of the other things I want to bring up is now when we start talking about slavery, we go into slavery, go into the curses, of course. But one of the things that you got to understand when we come out of slavery is there was a time of segregation and a time called Jim Crow. Okay. Matter of fact, you know what, Jim? I lied. Go ahead and turn that back around. Go ahead and turn that back around. I want you to give me the segregation sign. Give me the segregation sign. It's underneath the death by vaccine. No, go up. There you go. Check this out. Jim Crow. Here you go. Blow that up. Can you make that bigger? Maybe not. Okay. If you guys can't see it online, this was a park sign. It says this park was given to white people only. Mexicans and Negroes stay out. Order of Park Board. I got another sign that says niggers, Mexican, no niggers, no Mexicans, no dogs allowed. All in the same sign to keep from coming into a restaurant. These signs were everywhere, okay, when it comes down to segregation. And a lot of this played into the separation of our people, okay, because segregation was actually a good thing for our people. People don't understand that, but it was actually a good thing for our people because we weren't hating each other back then. Because when we came out of slavery, we had to figure out a way to coexist. We had to figure out a way to be successful. We couldn't do it with them because everything was unlawful according to their laws for us to do. So we had to do everything with each other. We had to figure out a way to have our own businesses, our own restaurants, our own schools, our own hospitals, all of that, right? Say it again. Black Wall Street. That was in the 20s. And that's one of the things that we talk about. We were at the height of America. We had the #1 family in America, economically speaking. What happened? It got bombed. Black Wall Street got bombed by the American army. The only time they bombed their own soil, okay? And what did they do after they killed all the people and they bombed it? They built highways over it so you couldn't replace the infrastructure, okay? And they did that because the natural order had came back. If you remember in the Willie Lynch letters, the order that they put in place was for the woman to depend on the slave master and for the male's image to be destroyed. Well, what happens when the male's image is owning banks, owning railroads?
You don't need to go get anything from them. You have our own stores, our own food.
Own food. What happens when we run the bus stations? When the black men are doctors, when they're lawyers, when they're teachers, right?
I wouldn't start to depend on us.
Right. What happens is they really didn't have a choice because we were ousted as a people. Okay. So I'm saying all this to help you all understand from the beginning of the inception of this country, it was all systematic in destroying our people. Okay. Now, I don't know also if you guys were aware, during slavery, there was a time that they would pit the light-skinned slaves against the dark-skinned slaves, okay? And that was really simple, but at the same time, what they would do is they would give the light-skinned slaves certain duties in the house, okay? And the dark-skinned slaves were the ones that were in the fields, okay? So when you look at us, right, as a people, you can only guess who would be what they call the house niggas and the field niggas. Okay,
Yeah.
I'd be in the field. There's no other way around it. Okay, that just is what it is.
Wrong.
I would have been in the house.
She would have been in the house. But guess what? But guess what? You know what happens? You know what that does? What that does is that put the men against the men and the women against the women. That's what it did. And they did that systematically throughout slavery. Okay? Okay? Okay, don't start that. That's not what this is about. Y'all behave yourself. All right? We don't want to put, but matter of fact, you know what? We're gonna go into this right now. We're gonna get this out of the way right now. Let's go to watch Good Hair, Bad Hair. Okay. Okay. So pause it right there. Okay. You don't have to blow it up, but just pause it. Okay. It's from a movie we know called School Days. Okay. And some of you all know about this, some of you don't. But the youngsters, especially, y'all are gonna get real hip to this real quick. Okay, real quick. All right. Go ahead and play that. And this is for fair use. Go ahead and mute that. Let me. Yeah, I'm gonna have to turn it up a little bit. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. And what I'm gonna do. Hold on. Let's see.
Then we put it together here.
Here you come.
Go ahead. Y'all see this? They got all these same names that the white man had for all of them. Okay? We got a little delay.
They got the J's for
What we can say?
jigaboos. And then they got the W for wannabes.
Right. So if you guys can hear us, what we just talked about was how you got the J's and the W's. You got the J's for the jigaboos and the W's for the wannabe. Okay, but who are they wanting to be? Who they say they want to be? They saying they want to be white women. That's what they're saying. Okay, now Spike Lee did this movie, but you know the thing was it was all designed to show you the difference and the hate between light-skinned and dark-skinned women throughout the school, because basically that started over a man. Okay, because both of them were seeing a man, and then you know the man was, I guess, going back and forth. I can't really remember exactly, but that was really how this all got started. Then the next thing you know, all the light-skinned women from the light-skinned girl fraternity, I don't know what fraternity that is, but the dark-skinned fraternity came up, and then now all of a sudden, you know, you're a jigaboo, you trying to find something to do, you're a wannabe wanting to be better than me. These things, even though there was a black man that was there was a black man that directed that movie, he's still part of the same industry that propagates destroying our people. Okay, people looked at this as a success because black people were in it, but the message that was in it was really degrading. It was really degrading. Okay, I mean, from beginning to end, it was really degrading. You know, everybody enjoys school days because of the music, the dancing, but you know, that's a lot of times that's what our people do. All you got to do is throw a song and dance in, and we'll go with it, right? But you can sit there and say the worst things that you could possibly say to somebody, and we'll accept it because it's got a good beat, right? And they count on that. That's systematic oppression. We're watching the Willie Lynch syndrome play out in the 90s. That's what it is. That's the Willie Lynch syndrome playing out in the 90s, even through Jim Crow. Okay. Yeah, we're not gonna watch the rest of that. Let's go to the let's go to the Clark doll experiment. How many of you all have seen this? You've seen this? Okay, hold on. Let me turn it up some. What you got? I did. I turned it down to 76. Okay, down to 77. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, which doll is the black doll? And which one is the white doll? Which doll is the pretty doll? Which doll is the nice doll? Which doll is the bad doll?
Pause it. You see that? So when she was asked which doll was the bad doll, she pointed at the black doll. Go ahead.
Which doll is the nice doll? And which doll is the bad doll? And what is that doll? Which doll is the ugly doll? Why is that doll ugly? Which doll looks most like you? Yeah, which one looks like you?
Barely gonna touch it.
Pause it. Oh yeah, but that's it. Yeah, just go back there. Now, the Willie Lynch syndrome is in full effect even through our children. How could you say something like this would happen to babies this age, to have this understanding of hate, self-hate? It's because the school systems are school to prison pipelines. It's taught in the schools. It's taught in the fabric of this society to hate yourself if you are people of color. It's just taught that way. And this experiment was very clear that the self-hate goes all the way to the children. It goes all the way to the children. And really the only cure, people don't understand this, but the only cure is to completely separate from these people. There's no way to get along. There's no way to moderate it. There's no way to be halfway about it. It's to separate from their philosophy, from their way of life, from their religion, to separate from the way they eat, socially, economically. There's no other way to do it. Other than that, we're going to continue to breed generations of this. Generations of this. So if she's looking at that doll and realizes she hates herself, what do you think she's thinking when she sees another little black girl like her?
I hate you.
I hate you. The same thing. It's propagated, it's systematic, and it's psychological. Okay? It's a psychological warfare. Go ahead.
I remember when Linda Carter, that Wonder Woman, came out and I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see any images of Black women superheroes or really any Black men superheroes. I knew I wanted to be Wonder Woman.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be Linda Carter. I don't think I was self-hating myself, but when you just look at the image, you want to be that beautiful image that's portrayed.
Right.
And so I just remember as a little girl, that's who I wanted to be.
Mm-hmm. Right. She stopped bullets.
Yeah, she stopped bullets. She did all this stuff. She had this pretty so-called long hair and the little outfit.
She wore the little hooker boots and the underwear. He was like, hey, I can wear that. No. I'm just saying, that's part of it. That's part of it.
They made underoos back then, and I begged my mom to get me some, and of course she did.
Right, but see, think about it. And that's the way our images have been destroyed. That's how psychological the images are.
Christy Brinkley as the model,
No, I don't know who that is.
You know who that is, Christy Brinkley. She was one of the top models back then in the 80s and 90s. White woman.
Wait,
Christy Brinkley.
Al Bundy's.
Never mind.
I know everything that you're saying, and all this is true because I just even sit back and think upon my own childhood. Growing up, I grew up in Lincoln Court, Tennessee area, and I was probably at that time one of the lightest kids
out there. You on the west side.
Yeah, and nobody wanted to talk to me or play with me. I was always kind of left out to myself. I remember when I did at my granny's house, my granny would be like, "No, you're not going outside playing with them because them is the you know what I mean?" And she's like, "And you better than that." And I would always not understand why I couldn't go outside and play with other kids.
Right.
So my granny kept me in the house with her doing things that she does. You know what I mean? So I kind of felt a lot of that growing up. And then when I went to by the time I got to high school, even then, I went to Robert E. Lee High School. And I was one of, at that time in my class, one of 10 Blacks in the whole school. But out of being that one of 10 Blacks in the whole school, I was still alienated from the Black kids.
Right.
And I never could understand it. So it kind of made me grow kind of like a loner. So I'm still kind of like that type of loner because that kind of stuff resonates with you for a long, long time. You know what I mean? Until you begin to understand. It wasn't actually until I came into the truth, I actually started understanding why things were the way they were.
Right. Because you understood, at that point, you understood that it was by design. It wasn't just happenstance. It was by design. Okay. Let's go to the next clip. I want to go to that one. Okay, that one. Shabbat Shalom, Akim. Aqua.
Doctor.
Okay. So let's hold on. Let me make sure you turn this up. Okay. Go ahead. Hold on, guys.
In addition to someone, Spirit, the life coach and therapist from Atlanta. As a life coach and as a very accomplished and successful African American woman, what are you hearing? What do you have to say to this young woman?
I think that you get caught up in the very extreme things that she's talking about. You miss the tragedy of her story, and the tragedy is issues around culture, we have issues around class, we have issues around racial identity, we have issues around self-esteem. It's not that she hates Black people, it's that she hates herself and she wants her own life.
Now listen to her response.
Laughing.
Listen. Shh.
Well, I couldn't agree more. This is why I asked you, what is it that you're so upset with yourself about? Why are you so angry?
I don't take her that serious at all. So I'm not gonna even pay her any mind. If I didn't write the day I was born, then I still write now. And I will write every day with her. Most definitely. There's nothing out there that can change my opinion. That's the good guy telling me you don't know what you're talking about, and that's yeah.
Do you think that it is becoming to you to refer to this very fine, well-educated woman that was halfway across the country to reach out to you to refer to her as a footgraph? Do you think that's becoming to you?
Well, I don't know.
Do you think that's flattering to you to do that? Do you
I
think
mean, I'm just telling
edifies
you.
you?
I'm not lying.
Well, I didn't want to ask.
I feel like it's becoming a me to tell the truth. So, yeah, I think at this point it's really important for us to deal with that. And so, Treasure, I think exposure is important. And so I would absolutely invite you to come and settle in Atlanta so that you can actually meet and understand what amazing Black women look like, so that you can learn your Black romance.
She is totally destroyed.
I don't believe in throwing in a wheelchair. I would never do something like that. Unfortunately, the interesting thing about this, though, Dr. Hill, is that when you are comfortable in your position, when you know who you are, when you are educated and you are fact-based, you can walk into any room with confidence. You can talk to anyone. You don't have to do anything except simply be. So when you feel the need to bring people down, when you feel the need to use words to hurt people, we know all the time that hurt people hurt people. And so I look at you, and all I want to do is just help you heal your brokenness. It's so important.
What did you say?
Being a Black person is like going to school. You only want to go there a few times, but if you go there all the time, you know everything you know about.
That's like a tired record. You only have about 6 things to say.
Now, seeing a Black person is like going to the zoo. And again, the same question applies. You can cut that off. Same question applies. When she sees another woman of color, she hates her. That's why she told her, no, no, thank you. I don't need to go with you. And if you think about it, Atlanta probably has some of the most affluent, educated, successful women of color in the country. Like if you want to learn what it looks like, that would be a city that you would go to. Now, when it comes to the men, that's something different. But for the women, you know, especially educational wise and status wise, as far as how they carry themselves and what they know and things of that nature, you know, just from a world standpoint, you can learn a lot. She said no. She said no. What do you say? That's sad. She's 16. She's 16. How long y'all think she's been that destroyed?
When was this video?
Oh, I don't know.
It was like in like 2017 because I remember that one she was wearing like a bunch of, she was like somewhere like probably like wearing like psychiatrist and then she was talking about it something about the KKK and then she went to Dr. Phil. So it's probably like 2017 or 2018.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this is gonna be one of the last ones we're gonna watch. Pause it.
She was talking about what makes you think you're not blessed. And she said, my lips aren't big like a Black baby's. My nose isn't huge. And then she was talking about her hair.
Yeah. Destroyed. Completely destroyed. Okay, go ahead. You can go ahead. Okay, make it. Okay. So it sounds like it's a badge of honor for somebody else's boyfriend to leave them for her, right? Or for light-skinned women, according to her. Dark-skinned women's boyfriends are leaving them. You can go ahead and get rid of that. You can turn that around and hit those lights. Dark-skinned women's boyfriends, according to her, are leaving them to be with light-skinned women. Okay.
This in our music too. You hear
Go ahead.
stuff in our music too about yellow bone this
Oh,
and all that. And then, you know, it's all over. It's even like with Puerto Ricans against Hispanics or something like that. They even do the same thing.
Right. Go ahead and turn it around.
It's like
Jaden.
it's all
And
over.
Jaden got it. That's a new.
There. I'll
Let's see.
try it
Let's see.
because now.
Check, check, check. Check, check, check.
Yeah, you're good now.
There we go. Okay. So like everybody, we had a little technical difficulty. Bless you, bless you. Okay. Go ahead and read that. All right. So let's go ahead and start that script from the top. Let's get Deuteronomy 23 and 17. Let's start there.
Okay, this is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23, verse 17.
Mm-hmm.
There shall be no whore of the daughters of Israel.
There shall be what?
No whore of the daughters of Israel.
So according to the sister here that we just watched, it's a badge of honor for somebody else's man to leave them and come with her. That makes you a whore. Okay, read.
Nor a sodomite of the sons of Israel.
So our women are not supposed to be whores, and the men are not supposed to be sodomites, which is a homosexual. That's the law in Israel. Okay. Now let's get Exodus chapter 1, verse 18. Hopefully we're coming through clear. Sister Brown says you put a 1 in the chat. All right, all right. Are we all clear? Can you guys hear us? We had a little technical difficulties. You should be able to hear us now. Everybody hear us? Okay. Go ahead and bring that out, son. I'll keep watching the chat.
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them,
Mm-hmm.
Why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive?
Mm-hmm.
And the midwives said unto Pharaoh, Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered, even the midwives coming unto them.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore Elohim dealt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty.
Mm-hmm.
And it came to pass, because the midwives feared Elohim, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, Every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
So this is the exact same thing going on in Egypt right now. We're in Egypt all over again. Okay, the men are hated and plotted to be killed. They were set up to be killed, and the women are saved alive so they can be alone. Like Willie Lynch said, it make sure not to kill the nigger woman, according to them, because you're messing up good economics. That's the way to see it.
She can be with those other nations of people.
Right. And still be economical for their kingdom. That's the way they look at it. Okay. And a lot of our people don't see it because they're too busy hating each other. And that's the problem. Let's get Proverbs 21 and 18. Proverbs 21 and 18. Okay, go ahead and bring that in.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
The wicked shall be a ransom for the righteous.
Read that part again.
The wicked shall be a ransom for the righteous.
The wicked shall be a ransom for the righteous. So those that are righteous, right? Those that are righteous are going to have the wicked as ransom. Okay, read.
And the transgressor for the upright.
Mm-hmm.
It is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and an angry woman.
It's better to be in the middle of the woods than to be with a contentious, angry woman. You're better off just lost in the woods than you are being around one of your sisters that's contentious, meaning she always wants to fight. That's always all she wants to do is argue. Huh? Nagging. Always want to go back and forth. It don't matter who it is. If you notice, the scripture's not particular about who she's angry with. It doesn't say who she's contentious with, because I know you all see it with your own sisters, right? Contentious and angry. The angry, contentious, and bitter. Okay? And you better off, the scriptures say you better off being in the woods than around them. What you need to be around them for? For you to get angry, right? So you can put your hands on them, right? That ain't gonna get you nowhere. Let's get Deuteronomy 28 and 56. Because that right there, that angry, contentious spirit on a lot of our women is really what has a lot of our women not trusting each other, not wanting to be around each other at all. At all. Okay. Yeah, we're going to get Deuteronomy 28, verse 56. Okay, go ahead and bring that up. Yeah, make sure you bring it out loud and strong.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 56.
Mm-hmm.
The tender and delicate woman among you, which would not adventure to set the sole of her foot upon the ground for delicateness.
For what?
For delicateness
And
tenderness.
And what?
And tenderness.
She doesn't want to be delicate. She doesn't want to be tender. Read.
Her eye shall be evil toward the husband of her bosom.
Her eye shall be evil towards her own man. Read on.
And toward her son.
Mm-hmm.
And toward her daughter.
Towards her own children. Read.
And toward her young one that cometh out from between her feet.
Mm-hmm.
And toward her children which she shall bear.
Mm-hmm.
For she shall eat them for want of all things,
Mm-hmm.
secretly in the siege and straitness, wherewith thine enemy shall distress thee in thy gates.
So everywhere she turns, she's going to be distressed by the enemy. This is a curse that's been placed on our women. She's going to be distressed on every level. On her left, on her right, on her front, and her back. She's going to be faced with the enemy that's going to distress her. All right? Let's get Proverbs 14 and 1. Get that.
Fine.
Okay, go ahead, bring that up.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 1.
Uh-huh.
Every wise woman buildeth her house.
Every what?
Wise woman buildeth her house.
Every wise woman buildeth her house. Read.
But the foolish.
But the what?
The foolish.
Go ahead.
Plucketh it down with her hand.
The foolish woman plucketh her own house down with her hand. How many women have we seen that happen to? Destroy their own house. Over and over and over again. Destroy her own house.
It's like they don't learn.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Watching TV thinking that that's cool, right? But you're destroying your own home. Okay. Let's get Ephesians 4 and 29.
This is the book of Ephesians, chapter 4, verse 29.
Mm-hmm.
Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth.
Read that again.
Verse 29. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth,
Mm-hmm.
but that which is good to the use of edifying.
To use that of edifying. We're supposed to be edifying when we speak. We're supposed to always have some kind of wisdom coming out of our mouth when we speak. Read on.
That it may minister grace unto the hearers.
Mm-hmm.
And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim.
So don't grieve the Ruach HaKodesh. Read.
Whereby you are sealed unto the day of redemption.
Read.
Let all bitterness.
Let all what?
Bitterness.
Read.
And wrath.
Uh-huh.
And anger. And clamor. And evil speaking be put away from you. With all malice.
So let all bitterness, wrath, anger, clamor, and evil speaking be put away. Don't deal with each other that way. Okay? As women, don't deal with each other that way. Read on.
And be ye kind to one another.
Uh-huh.
Tender-hearted,
Mm-hmm.
forgiving one another.
Wait, read that part again.
Tender-hearted,
Uh-huh.
forgiving one another.
Forgiving one another. That's a real problem with us, with our women. They got a problem with forgiving each other. Read.
Even as Elohim for Hamashiach's sake hath forgiven you.
So you want the Most High to forgive you because the Messiah is in your life. You're going to ask for forgiveness, but you can't forgive your sister because she said something you didn't like, or she gave you a bad look. She rolled her eyes at you. Or you heard she said something about you. And you can't forgive her for it. But you want forgiveness for the Father. Y'all better check your spirit. Y'all better check your spirit. Because there's going to be a lot of church-going folk in that lake of fire. All right? Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 2. 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9.
This is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
In like manner also,
Mm-hmm.
that women adorn themselves in modest apparel.
That they do what?
Adorn themselves in modest apparel.
Read.
With shamefacedness
Mm-hmm.
and sobriety,
Mm-hmm.
not with braided hair
Mm-hmm.
or gold or pearls or costly array.
So
Like,
you're not supposed to adorn yourself with your hair, your gold, your pearls, and your expensive clothes. That's not supposed to be your adorning. It's not supposed to be about the way you look. Okay, you can't just be about the way you look. What the sister say? Hey, I can't help that I look good. It ain't my fault that your man leaving you. See, that is a spirit of hate and evil. Okay, people may be entertained by that, but that's a spirit of evil and hate. That's directly against the scriptures. That is exactly why our sisterhood is broken. Women will look at that and say, see, that's why I don't fool with women. Am I right or am I wrong?
Mhm.
Am I right or am I wrong? You'll look at that and you'll say, I'm good with my family. I heard you say it. I'm good with my family. Why? Because there's no purpose of you trying to be in line to be hurt by other women who hate themselves, who are so damaged that they're there to be clamorous and evil towards you to make themselves feel good, right? There's no point to that. I know y'all seen it. Y'all seen it in school growing up, you know, and seeing some of these other girls, the way they act. And a lot of it's passed down. You know, it's curses. A lot of it's passed down. Okay. Read on, son. Who's got that?
Oh, that was verse 10. But which becometh women professing godliness with good works.
With what?
Good works.
With good works. What are those good works? Is keeping the law of the Most High. Read on.
Verse 11. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection.
Now, when you're supposed to learn in silence, this is speaking about the church. This is speaking about the gathering. Okay. Now, when you have men out here that want to tell you online, you're supposed to be silent. We don't teach that. You're not supposed to be silent on Facebook. Okay, that's ridiculous. These are mama's boys, okay? And they're beta males. Okay, I'm telling y'all straight up what it is. They just don't want you to cut them with scripture. They don't like that. Because a lot of times, especially if the women and the sisters have been learning with us, they've learned some things that they weren't taught in other places that really have to do with bettering themselves. It's not about necessarily hurting or starting a gender war. It's more about bettering yourself. And you know, you can use it both ways. People can use the scriptures to better themselves or to hurt other people. And that's what we have in our nation, kind of a gender war kind of thing going on. Go ahead, keep reading.
Verse 12. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man. So the women aren't supposed to have authority over the men. Read. But to be in silence.
Go ahead.
For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. She wasn't in the transgression.
Okay, so she was deceived in committing the sin. That was how she was deceived during the spirit of transgression and what she was doing and what she learned, which she was told not to. Okay, and all this has to do with order. Okay, that's what it has to do with, is order. Let's get Titus chapter 2. Titus chapter 2, verse 3. Go ahead, read that.
This is the book of Titus, chapter 2, verse 3. The aged women likewise, that they be in behavior as becoming holiness.
Now stop right there. What does the word holy mean again?
Separate.
Read.
Not false accusers.
Not what?
False accusers.
Not liars. Read.
Not giving too much wine.
Not giving what?
Too much wine.
Ooh, stop right there. What are we gonna do with our women in this wine? Why y'all looking at me confused?
Those are the women that get drunk.
They get drunk.
Yeah.
That's different.
They don't know where they
They
at.
get drunk and they don't know how to act, and they
We got
hold their composure.
yeah, we
They
got
don't know when to stop.
we got some of those in our nation.
A lot of them.
Yeah. And I'm sure we got some possibly in the congregation.
Really?
We might.
Mm.
I'm just saying you never know. You never know.
Well, boy.
Never nonetheless. We'll read on.
Teachers of good things.
Teachers of what?
Good things.
So having too much wine isn't a good thing to be teaching. Okay. Being drunk ain't a good thing to be teaching other women. Okay. Read on.
That they may teach the young women to be sober,
Mm-hmm.
to live their husbands,
Wait,
to love their husbands,
To love their husbands. Read.
to love their children.
You see that? That's exactly the opposite of what the curse said in Deuteronomy 28 and 56. It says that they were going to hate, they're going to have an evil eye towards their husband and towards their children. So for a holy woman, which is a separate woman, to come out and an aged woman to come out and teach younger women, she would have to teach them things directly opposing what the curses are, which have everything to do with the law. Okay, everything to do with the law. All right, read on.
That's fine. To be discreet.
To be what?
Discreet.
No, to be world star.
Discreet.
To be discreet. Read.
Chaste.
Chaste. Go ahead.
Keepers at home.
Keepers at home. Ooh, that's tough. There's a lot of women that don't want to stay at home. I guarantee you, as soon as they open the clubs up, you go on Facebook, man, let me tell you, it's like a cattle farm. It'll be like a cattle farm. Go ahead. Chaste means that they're not giving themselves up. You ever heard of a chastity belt? Everybody heard of a chastity belt? A chastity belt was like a metal pair of panties that you had to have a lock to. Whatever. The movies portrayed them as metal, and you had to have a key to open them up and to take them off. Okay, so that's what a chastity belt was. So for you to be chaste means that you're not out here giving yourself freely, which goes against Torah, which means that there's no whore among the daughters of Zion. Right, loose women. Very good. That's great. I appreciate that. Okay, go ahead. Don't repeat that. Don't repeat that. Go ahead.
Good.
Wait, read it again.
Good.
Wait, read verse 5 from the top.
Verse 5. To be discreet.
Mm-hmm.
Chaste. Keepers at home.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Obedient to their own husbands.
Ooh, wait a minute. Read that part again.
Obedient to their own husbands.
Man, I did a whole post on how many women would submit with all subjection to their own husband. 60% of women said they ain't doing it. They're not doing it.
That's the truth.
They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. It ain't happening.
To their own husband. We ain't saying to the Negro down the street that's trying to holler at you.
To the Negro up the street on K2, robbing people
Right,
out in the middle of the street. Yeah, telling you to come with him, not submitting to him, but to your own husband. They said
You chose to marry.
right. They're not doing it. Okay. Read on.
That the word of Elohim be not blasphemed.
All the women are blaspheming the Holy Spirit. All the women. Because the Holy Spirit brings everything back into what? Remembrance. So that's bringing everything back into remembrance. And you say, yeah, I know I'm a daughter of Zion. Yeah, I know I'm supposed to keep the law. But am I going to submit to my husband, which is a law? No, I'm not doing it. That's blaspheming the Holy Spirit. And guess what? That's the one thing that the Hamashiach said you will not be forgiven for. You can call me black, ugly, hairy, whatever you want to call me. But if you blaspheme the Holy Spirit, you cannot be forgiven for. Everybody understand that? That's what we're seeing nowadays. That's why we, as a body and as a congregation, we have agreed in this time of leadership, in top tier leadership and in totality in leadership to deal with relationships, because relationships have been so destroyed among our nations that a lot of our people don't know how to fix them without counsel. Okay, because you got to realize that a lot of our men and women that are in the truth now, they weren't raised in the truth. They come from the world. They all come from something. So to get that fixed, you need help. And a lot of times it's hard for our people to realize and admit that they need help. And that's what we're here for. Okay. Let's get 1 Peter 3. 1 Peter 3:1. Good to see you using that book over there, my dear. Okay. I don't know what that had to do with anything, but let's read on. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. Who's reading that from? You got it?
Yes.
Okay, bring that up.
This is the book of 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands.
Wait, read that part again.
Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands.
60% say they ain't doing it. I'm not submitting to my own husband. He can forget it. We submit to each other. Now, how the hell? I gotta stop right here. How do you submit to each other? If she say, let's go to Whataburger, and I say, no, let's go to Dairy Queen, but we submit to each other, she'll be a Dairy Queen, I'll be a Whataburger. What? That's confusion. That's foolishness. It's folly.
Do that though.
That's what 60% of these women were saying. We supposed to submit to each other. No. How?
They don't know the difference. There's a difference. You can submit, but you can still compromise. But either way, there's only one way you can go if you're going to be together.
And you brought up a good point to a lot of the sisters. Y'all go to work every day. You submit to your bosses who hate you, right? But you're not going to submit to your husband who loves you. Something wrong with that.
Some of them were like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, they were. Read on. Start from the top.
Verse 3 from the chapter 3 from the top. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husband, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives.
Because the wives will talk about you anyway. You ain't doing what you're supposed to do. Think about it. You got a group of women. You got 10 women in a room. 6 of them ain't submitting to their husband, but 4 of them do. Are they all going to be on one accord? No. There's going to be strife. And those 4 women are going to be talking about those 6 women. Read on.
Verse 2. While they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, whose adorning let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair.
So it's not supposed to be about your hair. Read on.
And of wearing of gold.
Not of your jewelry. Read.
Or putting on of apparel.
It's not saying that you can't have nice hair. This ain't saying you can't wear jewelry. This don't say you can't wear nice clothes. This is saying don't let that be your adorning. What adorns you needs to be your spirit and who you are in the Most High. That's what this is saying. Okay, read on.
Verse 4, but let it be the hidden man.
But let it be what?
The hidden man of the heart.
That's what it's supposed to be. Let it be the one that they can't see. They may see the most beautiful woman on the planet, but they don't know you because the part of you that's adorning is the hidden person of the heart. That is what?
In that which is not corruptible.
It's not corruptible. Go ahead.
Even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit.
Come on.
Which is in the sight of Elohim of great price.
Of great price. It's priceless to carry yourself this way as a woman. It's priceless to the Most High. That's what we should be guiding our women to be. Not like these hood rats who hate each other because of the color of their skin. Read.
For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in Elohim, adoring themselves, being in subjection unto their own husband.
Being in subjection to their own husbands, okay? People want to talk about how things used to be. Well, let's talk about how things used to be. Women were subjected to their own husband. Why? Because their husbands weren't out here dealing drugs. They weren't out here killing each other. They weren't out here molesting children, stealing, right? They weren't doing that. They were following the Most High. And that's what we're getting back to, okay? Read on.
Verse 6, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are.
Whose daughters ye are.
As long as ye do well.
As long as you do well, go ahead.
And are not afraid with any amazement.
Don't be scared to be a daughter of Zion. Don't be scared to be submissive to your husband. Chaste. Don't be scared not to be loose, okay? You don't have to be like everybody else. You don't have to be what's popular in the world. Don't be scared of that. Don't be scared of what the scriptures call you to be. Holiness, separate of the world. Don't be scared of that, okay? Because that's who the Most High calls you to be, okay? You know, even when you're reading it, it doesn't tell you can't get your hair done. You know, the scriptures don't tell you can't look nice. You can't wear jewelry. The scriptures don't tell you that. Even when you go into history of the scriptures, you see that our women were all dressed up. They all had jewelry, rings, nose piercings, earrings. They had necklaces.
This was every day. It wasn't just. It was special occasions all the time. We were always like
every day.
Every day.
Every day. Okay. Let's get Proverbs 31.
I need some more jewelry.
Settle down. Settle down.
31.
Proverbs 31. Chapter 31.
She can have on her, but maybe in her maybe the inside is not as gold as the outside. You know what I mean?
She could be just as dirty as the chick that we're looking at.
Yeah.
As dirty as she was actually a pretty woman. Okay. And then when you look at her, she probably had jewelry on. She probably had on nice clothes. She probably had on things that attract men, but rotten on the inside.
Like
destroyed.
Like when you see the outside of an apple,
right?
When you bite into it and just brown.
Yeah, yeah, and you got to throw the whole apple away, right? Right. Okay, let's go ahead. We're gonna read from the top. We're reading the whole chapter. Go ahead, son.
All right, this is the book of Proverbs, chapter 31. The words of King Lemuel, the prophecy that his mother taught him. What, my son, and what the son of my womb, and what the son of my vows? Give not thy strength unto women, nor thy ways to that which destroyeth kings. It is not for kings, O Lemuel. It is not for kings to drink wine, nor for princes strong drink, lest they drink and forget the law and pervert the judgment of any of the afflicted.
So they're not supposed to drink to that point, to where they don't understand the law, to where they're giving unjust judgment, okay? Because they're gone. Okay, go ahead.
Verse 6. Give strong drink unto him that is ready to perish, and wine unto those that be of heavy hearts. Let him drink and forget his poverty, and remember his misery no more. Open thy mouth for the dumb in the case of all such as are appointed to destruction. Open thy mouth, judge righteously.
Open thy mouth and what?
Judge righteously.
Come on.
And plead the cause of the poor and needy.
This is talking about as men, kings, okay? This is wisdom given as kings. Go ahead.
Who can find a virtuous woman?
So this is the search. Who can find a virtuous woman? Read.
For her price is far above rubies.
Come on.
The heart of her husband doth safely trust in her.
So a virtuous woman, her husband trusts in her, safely trusts in her. Read.
So that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life.
Some of the days of her life.
All the days of her life.
All the days of her life. Read.
She seeketh wool and flax, and worketh willingly with her hands.
So she's seeking wool, flax, and works willingly with her hands. Read.
She is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens.
So she's always working. She's always doing something to benefit the people she loves. Read.
She considereth a field, and buyeth it, With the fruit of her hands, she planted the vineyard.
Mm-hmm.
She girded her loins with strength and strengthened her arms.
Just because you are a virtuous woman doesn't mean that you cannot be strong. Okay, read.
She perceiveth that her merchandise is good. Her candle goeth not out by night.
Mm-hmm.
She layeth her hands to the spindle, and her hands hold the distaff.
Mm-hmm.
She stretcheth out her hand to the poor. Yea, she reacheth forth her hands to the needy.
She's always helping people in need. Read.
She's not afraid of the snow for her household, for all her household are clothed with scarlet.
Mm-hmm.
She maketh herself coverings of tapestry. Her clothing is silk and purple.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband is known in the gates.
Her husband is what?
Is known in the gates.
Why? Because he's a righteous man, right? He's always in the path of righteousness. This is not her husband being known for smoking K2 on the side of the street, down here, can barely stand up, trying to jump in and out of people's cars. Okay? Not what we're talking about here. That's not what he's known for, right? That's not what we're reading. We're reading about men being known in the gates for righteousness. Okay? Read on.
When he sitteth among the elders of the land,
Mm-hmm.
she maketh fine linen and selleth it, and delivereth girdles unto the merchant.
Mm-hmm.
Strength and honor are her clothing.
Strength and honor are her clothing. Read.
And she shall rejoice in time to come.
Mm-hmm.
She openeth her mouth with wisdom.
She does what?
Openeth her mouth with wisdom.
Read.
And her tongue is the law of kindness.
Her tongue is the law of kindness. Y'all see that? This is what we got to get back to. This is going to strengthen our sisterhood. This is going to strengthen our sisterhood, not Dr. Phil. Read.
She looketh well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness.
She's not sitting around doing nothing. Okay, read.
Her children arise up and call her blessed.
Mm-hmm.
Her husband also, and he praiseth her.
Mm-hmm.
Many daughters have done virtuously, but thou excellest them all.
Mm-hmm.
Favor is deceitful,
Mm-hmm.
and beauty is vain.
Favor is deceitful. Beauty is vain. Read.
But a woman that feareth Yahweh,
The woman that what?
that feareth Yahweh,
Uh-huh.
she shall be praised.
Read.
Give her of the fruit of her hands, and let her own works praise her in the gates.
Your works are either going to be a blessing or a curse. A blessing or a curse. The same way you work your hands to be blessed is the same way you work your hands to be cursed. It's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? I remember the story of this parable about 2 wolves. We all have 2 wolves.
Oh, no.
Okay. You got the evil wolf and the good wolf. Which one wins?
One is
The one you feed more.
The one you feed more. That's the one that wins. Mm-hmm. That's the one that wins. Do we got any questions about the lesson? About our sisterhood, how to fix it, how it was broken, and how to fix it? Do we have any questions or comments?
sorry, I couldn't.
No? Do we have any questions? Or you got a question? Okay. You got any questions? Okay. Any questions online? All praises to the Most High. Let me see if we got, just check the stream, see if we got any questions. All praises. All praises. We're good. We good. Are you, Mordecai, are you saying that we got one or we good? Oh, that might have been from earlier. I think that was from earlier. Okay. All praises. So, good. No questions. Please watch this stream again. Go over these scriptures again, especially for my sisters. We had the understanding last night with the men. I want the sisters to go back over this, and I want you all to, really take heed of the things that we talked about here today. As you see, we're like I said last night, we're watching the end of an empire, and we got next. I pray that you all learn to love each other the way the scriptures call us to. Okay. As always, I want to give a shout out To all of the brothers and sisters here with KOI. I want to give double honors to the elders, messengers of the covenant. And I want to give all honor, power, and glory to the Most High Yahweh in the name of his only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai. And with that,